Again, they're making another live action again, and this time it's to Moana, which hasn't even been out for a full 10 years before they even decide to say, hey, we're gonna make a Moana film, a live action. Disney, you need to slow down these live actions because you're kind of going crazy with them. And like I said, Moana, at the time that you guys announced this, it wasn't even like 10 years old yet. Anyways, which I think there should be like a, what's the word? Uh, at least a 10-year mark. Before like something anime film for Disney should be considered live action. Moana, like I said, hasn't even been like 10 years yet, and it's still like relevant. It came out with this like sequel, like was it last year or 2 years ago? So it's not even like I don't think we needed a Moana live action quite yet, but we'll see. Let's go. Let me lower it. Well, let me lower it.
I'm a girl who loves my island, and the girl who loves the sea. It calls me.
I mean, yeah, so far it looks cool, but like summer. I mean, technically, 10 next year will be 10 years, but I mean, the trailer isn't bad in itself. It's not bad. It's just I think Disney should definitely hold off with the Disney films, turn them into live action, like at least 10 years, if not 20, for even considering turning them into live action. Like I can understand Cinderella and Snow White and the Jungle Book and even Lion King, Lion King, even live action. They need to stop saying that. But there's a point. I'll bring into this, bring in the Lion King if I dislike the two live action films. Each of those films I mentioned has been 10 plus old. Not even 10 plus years old, 20 years old and above. I think the Lion King is actually 30 years old. But you get my drift. They had room to breathe. They had room to let people soak in said thing before Disney even considered rebooting or into live action. Oh, even Pinocchio, as far as I'm aware, had two live actions. One in the 90s with a kid who played Simba being Pinocchio. And yes, I mean like the kid who was on like the Kid Cub Simba and in Home Improvement. He was Pinocchio. And I think that was good. That was my favorite live action Pinocchio. The only one that matters in my opinion. And then like what, 28 years later? 27, 28 years later, we had the one with Tom Hanks, which was awful, but still, we had allowed time to for said properties to breathe. Oh, I would have like, and don't get me wrong, Moana could easily be a really good live action. I'm not dismissing that, but I would have been more up for a Toy Story live action than a Moana before we got Moana. Because Toy Story is older. If you're going to do live actions, do the older brands first, not the newer ones. Moana's a newer one. For you, Disney, Daddy chill. Please, Daddy chill. Because not every single classic needs to be turned into live action. And I'm not saying that Moana can be turned into live action. I'm just saying that we sort of waited a bit longer for it to be turned into live action. But do I plan to see it in theaters? Probably not. I probably will wait until it comes on streaming. Because I'm in that mentality that I am kind of like tired of Disney making all their classics into live action. And I think the last live wait Disney considers live action that I've seen in theaters was Mufasa. But that was because my dad paid for me. There was no way that I was going to pay for my own ticket. My dad paid that ticket for me. So thank you, Father. But no, Disney needs to pump on its brakes a little bit and slow their roll. But anyways, what do you fellow knights think about this? Let me know in the comment section down below. Well, guys, have a wonderful day. Be kind to one another. I will talk to you fellow knights later.